Hello and welcome to SRS Chess, or if you've never been here before, then welcome. We are playing a fun game today before nap time. It's called Can You Tell the Difference? And today it's Can You Tell the Difference between me and a GM, and not just any GM, but the GM who won the last monthly bullet chess tournament, which I believe is a 1 minute. Well, no, I know it is 1 minute chess with a 0 second increment. A couple of these games will have somebody playing with 30 seconds. For these games, it's not relevant, but I mean, it's relevant in that you should be amazed that people can play these games that fast. So I'm not doing this to show that I'm as good as a GM. And in fact, I believe that this kind of shows that I'm not as good as this GM. I don't think I am. However, Barack Obama. However, it's all in the eye of the beholder, and I'll talk a little bit about my ambitions in chess. I'm not going to really expand too much upon what I was going to say last time, but um, uh, wow. White just gives that queen away. I mean, okay, both sides actually kind of just made kind of junky moves at the end. But anyways, yeah, blunder. So put your guess in now. One of the ways that you could guess who is GMs will probably just play faster than me because they're younger. That was me on the right. Okay, and that was a GM with an amazing checkmate on the left. Wow. That was nice. That was not on purpose. I almost guarantee you that was not on purpose, but that was very good. I mean, it was kind of on purpose. It was just, I don't think he saw it was checkmate though. So, anyways, it's very irrelevant. That was a great game, and I'm very impressed. The other way that you might be able to tell who's who is the GMs will probably be playing lines where both sides know the theory and they mutually expect for certain moves to be played more or less in that order, which is one reason that I might be able to actually do really well initially against like a GM or some GMs is because they just wouldn't know the lines I'm playing because I play a lot of stuff that is considered to be um, not like the way that they work with engines these days is that if something is like minus point 0.2 5 moves into the game, they think it's like an unplayable, which is simply not the case. And eventually, I will be proven correct on that. I call the idea of this a post engine chess era. And in a post engine chess era, um, what people will take into consideration the human aspect, the human element to the game a lot more, which is that a lot of the time, and leelapieceodds and leelaqueenodds is no better example of this than anything else I've ever seen. Sometimes moves that Stockfish says aren't the best win the most. So, if you have two moves, Stockfish says one is better, and every other engine in the world says it's better, but then you see it 1,000 times in tournament play, and every single time it wins. Well, maybe you should not listen to Stockfish in that case, in that one case. All right, so that was me on the left and the GM on the right. I accidentally stalemated, and the GM masterfully forced a stalemate. So the difference is that is the difference. All right, so now unfortunately, I also tried to take 1 minute games with a 0 second increment played by this GM. I also tried to get games that were that had the similar opening, the D4 opening, just the queen spawn opening. Like I really wanted to get Catalans, but just because that's kind of my pet opening. Um, I'm sorry, my pet's opening. My turtle quite enjoys it. Oh, okay. We have a. Oh no. We have what looked like some kind of. That might have been ooh, white is not doing well here. Okay, all right. White is not doing well. So that's definitely not me. Ha 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 ha. All right. Nonetheless, white's not so. White's lost. White is lost in this game. Although you do see a little sliver of an engine bar at the bottom there. So I guess not all is lost. Really fought for it. Black goes in and scoops up that pawn, and it looks like we were going to have a pretty easy. Well, maybe not the easiest time ending for black. It looked like it was going to be easy, but white is suddenly putting up some resistance. So we'll see if black decides to capture. It doesn't surprise me. And we have a non-capture on the right-hand side by our mystery player. And all right, and both players going speedy. So put in your guess. Put in your final guess for who is who. You can wait to see if there's a stalemate, and if not, I will give away answer number one right now. The left side is me. Yeah, that was me. All right, and the right side. Um, the right side is me. It's possible that a tool like Proctor, which chess.com is using to for anti-cheat or cheat detection. I guess it's both. I basically said the same thing twice. It's possible that a thing like that, if it was working for long enough, you would be able to just use someone's biometric data. So I thought about it, like, what if it is the case that Proctor has analyzed my computer, and it has gotten like a fingerprints of the way that I use a computer and the way that I use a cell phone. And chess.com has registered all those things and kept track of everything and used heat maps and the amount of pressure that I use when I hit keys on a keyboard or click the mouse. And now they don't need anything. Their website just automatically detects it's me. And I don't think it's very unlikely that that's true. Imagine that you have two friends. One is named Mary and one is named Paul. And Mary calls you and says, "Hey, I need help." And you ask what you can do. And Mary says, "I found the Stradivarius violin is worth like millions of dollars and is like the ultimate thing that you could find in your attic, according to Cash in the Attic." So, so you say, that's amazing. You found the violin, but what do you want me to do about it? And Mary says, "I want you to give me a ride tomorrow. Paul, he and his dad are so rich. They live together. They're investors. I just need a ride over to Paul's, really." And I also, we have to go really early in the morning, so I'm going to stay at your house, and the violin's going to be there, okay? And you go, "Okay, that's fine." And then in the middle of the night, Paul wakes you up. He's at your house, and he's shaking you awake. And you go, "Paul, what's going on?" And Paul's like, "Oh, I'm gonna steal the violin." And you go, "Oh, you can't steal the violin. She's gonna sell it to you. She'll know that it's you." And he goes, "No, she won't." So he covers you in feathers, and then he takes you out to a field, and he makes you dig a hole. And then after that, he plays some old jazz music, and then he tells you that he's going to take a brick. He goes, "It's going to hurt, but you'll be fine in a little bit." And then you wake up in the hospital, and Mary's next to you, and Mary's like, what happened to my violin?" Paul came to the house in the middle of the night, and he said that he was just going to take the violin because he was going to put feathers on me. And then he brought me out to a field, and he made me dig a hole, and then I had to recite a poem on cans. And she's sitting there going, "Oh my God, who would believe this? Who would believe this?" And so the question I would ask a person is, what if you were the person in that story? What do you think you could say to Mary that would convince her that Paul took the violin? because this is exactly what I believed people had done to me. You know, there are people out there who think that people follow them around and you know, make ominous phone calls towards them and conspire against them. I thought that people were trying to make me think that they were doing that. They were acting like nuts. And this just on a couple days, like around the times that I was playing at the chess tournaments. It was like those people. And, you know, they were getting in my face being like, ooh, spooky. Or they followed me to a gas station and they moved a bunch of stuff around like really frantically. And I walked up to him and I was like, do you need help, sir? And he wouldn't talk to me because I guess he was being funny. And the guy that was working at the counter was really freaked out by it. I felt really bad for him, but I also didn't really know why those guys were doing it. And I'm kind of seeing in retrospect, I feel like it was because they knew that as long as they act insane, then no one will ever believe anything I'm saying. And I guess I didn't lose a Stradivarius violin, but I sure would like to be able to play chess again. So what I would ask of people is if they believe that I am like the person in that story, and my story just doesn't make sense. Well, what I'd like them to do is I'd like to assert that Paul would have the violin, and that's the bottom line. So does Paul have the violin or does Paul not have the violin? And so in my case, the correct question would be, did a chess.com streamer's wife fly halfway across the country to watch me play a chess game? And did 5 people repeatedly take actions that would prevent me from ever playing chess over the board? And those are the big questions. So check out my Substack. Check out my Substack. Check out my Substack. You can find it. I write about chess. I write about all sorts of things, original thoughts, derivative thoughts. And get excited for my book. It's called The Drawing Room and Dark Mode, Selected Stories from a Dystopian Present. It doesn't have that end. The end of that. That's not the whole thing. That's not the title. Just the first part. This series Jess. Have a seriously great day. And we'll beat Leela tomorrow, okay? Okay. Let's go get ice cream.